Divine Mother, Great Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Shri,
Beloved Gurudeva,
Beloved Gurudeva,
Paramahansa Yoganandaji,
Paramahansa Yogananda,
saints of all religions,
saints of all
bow
religions,
at thy feet,
bow thy feet.
and we ask thy blessing
We ask thy blessing
on this satsang together today.
on this satsang together today.
Be present with us.
Be present with us.
May we feel thee
May we feel
in our hearts
in our
in a
hearts,
tangible way.
tangibly.
We are here to commune with thee.
We are here to commune with thee.
Bless us.
Bless us.
Let's start with a bit of chanting. Feel free to sing along.
My soul song, listen to my heart song, listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song. It is secret in my soul, I will gather blossoms for thee. In devotion, I will awaken and I listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song, listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song. In my soul, I will gather blossoms for thee. In devotion, I will awaken and I listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song, listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song. In my soul, I will gather blossoms for thee. In devotion, I will awaken and I listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song, listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song. In my soul, I will gather blossoms for thee. In devotion, I will and I listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song, listen to my soul song, listen to my soul song, listen to my heart song, listen to my soul song, listen. Listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never.
Let's meditate now for a few minutes together. Sit upright, the back, away from the back of the chair. Inhale the double breath, tensing the whole body. And exhale, double breath out, and relaxing. Nice on your own. In a few minutes, bring your gaze to the spiritual eye. Call to God there. Reveal thyself. from Affirmations for Self-Healing by Swami Dhyana on self-expansion. Self-expansion is the essence of all aspiration. Why do we seek to possess things? Because by acquisition we imagine we'll expand our dominion. Why do we seek to learn more? Because we think by enlarging our knowledge to expand our understanding. And why do we seek ever new experiences? Because we believe that through them we'll expand our awareness. When you stretch a lump of dough outward, it becomes not only broader, but thinner. Such often is the case when we stretch the mind only outwardly. Reaching out too far, we sacrifice depth in our lives. The self-expansion toward which all life aspires is of the spirit, an expansion of sympathy, of love, of the awareness that comes from sensing God's presence everywhere. Please affirm with me now. I feel myself in the flowing brooks.
I feel myself in the flowing brooks,
In the flight of birds.
in the flight of birds,
In the raging wind upon the mountains.
in the raging wind upon the mountains,
In the gentle dance of flowers in a breeze.
in the gentle dance of flowers in the breeze,
Renouncing my little egoic self,
renouncing my little egoic self,
I expand with my great soul self everywhere.
I expand with my great soul self everywhere.
I feel myself in the flowing brooks.
I feel myself in the flowing
The
brooks,
flight of birds.
flight of birds,
The raging wind upon the mountain.
raging wind upon the mountains,
In the gentle dance of flowers in a breeze.
in the gentle dance of flowers in the breeze,
Renouncing my little egoic self.
renouncing my little egoic
I
self,
expand with my great soul self everywhere.
I expand with my great soul self everywhere.
This time meant to feel myself in the flight of birds, the raging wind upon the mountain, the gentle dance of flowers in the breeze. Renouncing my little egoic self, I expand with great soul self everywhere. Pray silently with me now. Beloved Spirit and all that is, help me in my own nothingness. Find myself one with all that is. Om. Let's have the whispers reading now. Here? Other way. Pick it up.
My soul submarine is searching for thee. I found myself suffocating in the dark vapors of worldly ambition as my vessel sailed over life's sea. Fearful of dying in delusion, I sought out and boarded the submarine of deep dedication and dove deep into my inner self. In the silent depths of thy consciousness, I saw at first shimmering before me a light which spoke to me of fulfillments never before dreamed of. Diving deeper still, the submarine of my mind moved into astral seas, so rarely plumbed, in search of thee. Suddenly probing with searchlight vision, my soul submarine found itself in a new universe. I was surrounded on all sides by a mystic flaming radiance. Overwhelmed by thy supernal blessings, I behaved and reveled in thy presence everywhere. Oh,
Now, from rays of the one light.
Inner kingdom. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahamsa Yogananda. Most people imagine that the inner kingdom, as Jesus described it, lacks the fascination they attribute to sense life, the bright lights, the diverse attractions, the joys, and the laughter. Little do they realize what a vast universe exists in their own selves. There are many passages in the Old and New Testaments of the Bible that describe aspects of this inner kingdom. In the book of Genesis, we read, "And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil." Genesis 2.8 and 9. This garden was in no earthly place. It exists even now in the very self of every human being. The legend of Adam and Eve is allegorical. It describes how the first human beings dissipated their spiritual energy centered in the spine. The spine is the channel through which flows the river of baptism and of spiritual life. The Bhagavad Gita tells us the wise speak of an eternal Ashwatha tree with its roots above and its branches below. 15th chapter, verse 1. The tree of life, spoken of also in Genesis, is the spine. Its roots are above in the brain's energy. Its branches are the outward spreading nervous system. When the sap, which is to say the energy, flows downward, the consciousness is drawn into delusion. On the other hand, when the energy is drawn upward in deep meditation, the consciousness is drawn towards its eternal source, God, and is at last united with Him. Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, therefore urges his chief disciple Arjuna to embrace the yoga science, the path of meditation. The yogi, he says, is greater than the ascetic, greater even than the followers of the paths of wisdom, Jnana Yoga, or of action, Karma Yoga. Be thou, O Arjuna, a yogi. For those who would find the divine truth, Krishna gives this description of the yogi. Steadfast, a lamp burns, sheltered from the wind. Steadfastly meditating, solitary. Such is the likeness of yogi's mind. Shut from sense storms and burning bright to heaven. Thus, through holy scriptures, God has spoken to man.
I wanted to share more informally with you all today. And, you all are comfortable there, fine, or you can come closer on the floor, however you would like. I'm happy to share with you. So you can be in front of the screen too if you want. Fine. No, you can be there. Be there. It's fine. Yeah. So if you all want to come in, come on in. Because it'll be easier for me if I can just have you closer. So this is you can please do sit in front of the television. Because, yeah, it's hard for me to look there and so where you were was perfect. Yeah, come on. I come. You can come. It'll be easier.
If it is
And
easier
then
for
you all
you
can
to
ask your questions.
I think I like this thing last time very, very much.
Yeah.
I'm not a Kriyaban yet.
It's okay.
I just received first lesson from her.
No worries. Just be free.
Yeah, this is for all
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
sessions.
So I wanted to expound a bit on that topic that we were just reading about in the phrase. Because, and I remember when I was just getting out of college, so I went to a very good college, in California, Berkeley, And when I got out of there, I just didn't really, I mean, what did I learn? I just felt there's just got to be more to life than this. So you get a good job and you get a nice place to live and you get a car or whatever, you get money. But there still was something that was totally missing that I just didn't have. And I think you probably all have felt that or feeling that. And there was something missing in life. And by God's grace, within about a year after graduation, I found Master's book. Through I was drawn to spirituality, and I didn't know where to go though. So I just read whatever I could read, and then I Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was coming through America. A lot of people were starting to learn TM. So I learned transcendental meditation, and it wasn't quite mine. Then I did Buddhist chanting, and that wasn't mine either. But my TM teacher, I'll tell you the story. It was an amazing story. One night before I met that person, I was just all night just praying for help because I just knew there was something. You can sense from past lives that there's much more to life. And so the night after that prayer, the next morning rather, I was in a store because I had children I was working with in social services. And I saw a little pamphlet that said meditation on it. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. Back in the 70s, in my community, nobody was meditating. I put it that way. It just wasn't what was happening in India and yoga and karma and reincarnation. This was all new. I mean, it was just coming into America, and on the West Coast particularly, it was the hippie time, late 60s, early 70s, back to the land, don't have a job, walk around bare feet. It was that was what it was like in those times. And anyway, I saw this little booklet at the checkout counter as I was leaving that store. I was buying some things for my kids, and in the program, and it said meditation. And there was some draw, and it wasn't master. It was transcendental meditation. I really didn't even know what it was, but something inside just said, just buy that. And I bought the little pamphlet. I was sitting at my lunchtime in a park near where I worked, and I was reading this and having my lunch, and then I just couldn't believe it. It's not far from where I was. There was someone else sitting out in the park on a bench, and it was a man, and he was sitting with a straight spine. He wasn't sleeping. And I just, that man was meditating. And I was just reading that. I honestly felt that was my first prayer that I know of that got answered. Because the night before, I was just, I need help. I didn't know guru or like that. And so I went down where that guy was, and I just had his eyes closed and sitting. What are you doing? I was so excited. And I think that was just a flash of master. Get over there. I went over, I'd never forget it. I was meditating. And I said, I'm just reading about this. And so within 1 week, I learned how to meditate. I was bringing my fruits and my flowers, my offerings. And he and his mother, who was in the late 70s, early 80s, beautiful souls. They were TM teachers. And within just a short time, they gave me on a bargain. So how did that happen? Through that channel. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see? You really want to know? Here. I'm gonna find out what the inner kingdom is about. And I saw his face there, and I was just thrilled with his face. I mean, even all the miraculous stories, some of them I believe, some of them, not that I didn't believe, it was so out of context in my life, but I felt something from him and from the book. And within a short time that I met Swami, someone told me about Swamiji, he's a great yogi, he's a direct disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. And I was living in California, he was living in California. And interestingly enough, Jayaji, the other co-director, he went to Berkeley as well. And Daya was in Delhi, she went to Berkeley. We were all sort of in there, and then whoop, Swamiji magnetically called us up there. So I went there, and he must have been in his 50s, early 50s maybe. He was totally the yogi, and very strong, and long hair, beard, very thick glasses, and no nonsense. And I looked around. It was a yogic community. It is. All Kriya bonds. And I was struggling. By then, I had learned Kriya from another organization, but I was definitely struggling. But I got there, and Swamiji was giving Kriya. He was giving Kriya retreats. He was checking you, like we did yesterday. He was asking you, "What are you doing? How are you doing? That's not right." He was just right there. Q&A times, and he was the only person then who was giving Kriya. But my practice took off. And then I started understanding what Master was talking about in autobiography, about the inner kingdom. I wasn't understanding how to start experiencing what he was talking about. And you know how he said that it's not enough to read, to listen to philosophy or read it or talk, but you have to experience. So these masters brought how. Not just a nice book, you read about it and all, but they taught how to experience the kingdom of God that's within you. And Master brought the original Christianity and original yoga of Krishna, original Christianity of Jesus Christ. He said the essence of which is the same. And there was I first say that Jesus Christ appeared to Babaji. You probably heard this. And he said, "My followers are doing good works, but they have forgotten the essence of my teaching." Inner communion, meditation. And from there, would you bring me a glass of water, please? So, Master came for inner communion. He didn't come for social time or just for autobiography. He came so that people could meditate, learn how to meditate. And he spent his years in America. 32 years is a long time. And Vivekananda had gone ahead. But as I love what Master Swamiji says in the Gita, that Vivekananda, you could say he broke the ice. But Master taught people how to swim. Both were needed. When Master came, he came with techniques. This is what you do. And he had thousands of people who were born and bred, you could say, in the Christian faith. I was too. And he had harmonium up there. He would chant and have people chanting. He would do healing prayers. He had sometimes 5,000 people who would be at his talks. He would do demonstrations of energy. He would run out onto the platform when he'd give his lectures. He would shout out, "How is everybody? How feels everybody?" Have people shouting back. He just turned the energy around. And he planted yoga in America and had many great disciples. And one of those was Swami Kriyananda. And he sent him back to India to share the teachings. But Master had many, oh God bless you, thank you. He had many different experiences there. Like he was on a train once. And in those days there was a lot of prejudice against dark skin, and then he had long hair, and sometimes he had a beard, and he was Indian in the 20s and 30s and 40s. There weren't many Indians in America then. One time he was on a train, and this preacher walked by him. And he said, "Do you believe in Jesus Christ?" And Master said, "Yes." And he said, "Do you believe he's your only Savior?" Master said, "He's one of the children of God, and, whatever. If you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you're going to go to hell." The Master said, "Well, my friend, that may be so. It may happen by and by, but brother, you're there already." It was the truth. And then he met another man who said, everything in the Bible is absolutely literal. And Master said, "No, some of it's just not. There's a lot of stories in there and examples." It's no, it's literally everything happened. He said, "What about the snake, the serpent speaking to Eve?" And he said, "It happened." And Master said, "No, that didn't really happen. It's a story around it." And he said, "No, it happened. Master just said, he had a hat on. He said, "I take my hat off to the Sunday temple of colossal ignorance that I see before me." But he had to get in there and show, how do you go inside? How do you experience God? How do you live the teachings that Jesus Christ talked about, that Krishna talked about, that Patanjali talked about, that Arjuna lived? And he says in autobiography that Krishna taught Kriya Yoga to Arjuna. Jesus Christ taught it to he knew it and he taught it to his disciples. Patanjali practiced Kriya Yoga. St. John practiced these. These are ancient, effective techniques that the great masters have practiced. And Lahiri Mahashaya, it was his role to bring it back into the world. Babaji materialized a golden palace for Lahiri Mahashaya. Remember, he brought him up to the Himalayas. He called him there. It wasn't his job. He called him. And he brought him to that cave. And he said, "Do you remember this cave?" And Lahiri Mahashaya didn't know what was it. "No, I don't remember." And he brought out his blanket, his asana. He said, "Do you remember this?" "No, I don't remember." And he brought out a cup. He's trying to awaken the guy. He says, "I don't remember that." And then he strikes him. And Lahiri Mahashaya kicks him. You all woke up. At some point or another, you woke up. And he said, "I remember, you're my guru. This is where I used to meditate. This was my meditation blanket. This was the cup I used to drink from. This is beautiful." Babaji woke him up. And then he had him do a purification ceremony. That's what we did today. And then he brought him, materialized a golden palace. He said, "You had some desire." But at least he could materialize it for a golden palace. Here we are. And then he initiated him in that palace in Kriya Yoga. Afterwards, he had this vessel. Said, "Just put your hand there, and any food you want will come up." He kept bringing these different special foods he loved. And then he said, "You must be thirsty now." Now he says, "Yeah," but he looked at it, and it was fresh and clean with water. I'll drink from there. I mean, think of the love of the guru. He's constantly trying to get you to come back. Come back. Here's the golden palace. Here's the food you like. Here I am. Here's initiation. And so he initiated him, and then after all that, he says, "Now, surely, Lahiri Mahashaya, I want to see. So you must go back. You must teach how to go there. You must teach Kriya Yoga, and you must show that it's not just for Himalayan yogis in a cave. You must show that it's for everyone." Lahiri Mahashaya was married. He had 2 children. He worked as an accountant for 25 more years. After that meeting with Babaji, he didn't go back and say, no, I quit my job, I'm leaving my wife and my kids, and I'm getting out of here. He came back, and he lived there. He had students, disciples coming every day, and he would expound the Gita. He had a little balcony, and they would come and sit at the feet of the Guru. And he showed the inner life. Babaji, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shuktaswarji, remember Master was gone up to the Himalayas. And away after his Guru told him to stay here, he says, and he fled. He went up, I think it was 6 months, I think Swamiji said. So he went up and stayed for some time. Then when he came back, that very day, Swami Shuktaswarji initiated him into Kriya. He gave him initiation, but also he had him go, he helped him to go into Samadhi. So he said, poor boy, the moms can give you what you wanted. And he's nice, hits him on the chest. Master disclosed him to such a deep state. But remember, before that, he was sitting in his Guru's meditation room. Recall? Swami Shuktaswarji said, Mukunda! He was calling him, and he says, I'm meditating. I don't know why he's trying to disturb me. Mukunda! The last time he said his voice held rebuke. Mukunda! He calls him in and he strikes the chest, and Master goes. And then he comes back. After he comes out of that state, he drops down at his Guru's feet, and Swami Shuktaswarji picks him up. Don't get over drunk. You have much to do in the world. Fetch a broom. That's sweet. He was showing him the balanced life, which we all have. But what do we do when we go inside? Master said you cut the sense telephone wires. The senses are like phones, and they're always calling you outside of your true self, where the soul is, the true nature within. And so he said, cut them. How do you do that? By pranayama. Pranayama be thy religion. Pranayama will give you salvation. Kriya, for those who don't have it, it's a pranayama practice. And Master said you redirect the outward flowing energy back into the spine, into the sushumna. How do we do that? Pranayama. You draw current up and down in the spine. You'll learn Kriya at a certain point, but that current magnetizes the spine and the chakras. So if you can imagine a hose or a pipe. If it's kinked and curled, you can't get the flow of water. Isn't it so? And Master said most people's spines, where the current is trying to flow strongly, is spiritually paralyzed. Completely blocked. You can't get the energy up to the higher chakras, to the higher center. Just imagine that hose is like your spine. So what we do in our practices, first of all, we straighten that hose. That's why you sit up straight. That's why we energize. That's why we do other practices like Mahamudra, yoga postures, because we've got to straighten the hose. You can't do yoga. You can't feel anything until that happens. And then we introduce a strong current right there. You introduce a current there, and what's going to happen? Spine becomes like a very magnetic. This is why you see a yogi is just like, there's power flowing through the spine. Have you ever seen those little video clips of Yogananda walking down the streets of New York City? All eyes were always on him. I mean, whoa, that was just power flowing through him. Swamiji was the same. His spine was always straight. He would lead with his chest. And there was power flowing through the spine, through that hose, through the nadis, through the sushumna, irda, pingala, that are, unless you're made very differently, everybody has that. That's the inner roadmap, so to speak. And so we shut down, cut the sense telephones. It's not shutting down, it's redirecting the energy. We're redirecting it back in, and we create a strong flow up and down in the spine. And then These are the practices of Kriya Yoga. Then we get all that energy and we focus it in with the point between the eyebrows, the seat of enlightenment, here at Kutasta Chaitanya. And we hold it there. And if thine eye be single, whole body shall be filled with light. That's from the Bible. We make for that single eye, golden ring is there. And you've probably seen that. And then a deep blue, this color, blue field in the middle of the gold. And then the silvery white five-pointed star in the middle of the blue. This is how we're made. These are natural realities. It's not we're going to visualize or we're going to hope that it's there. It is there. As soon as you calm the mind. And so we withdraw the energy and we begin to burn up or dissolve the karma. If you have a strong flow happening, imagine a river or a stream or a brook. If along the sides there are maybe tree branches, twigs, debris, whatever. If you have a low flow, those are going to stay right where they are. What do we do in yoga, the Kriya Yoga? We increase the flow of the prana. Increase the flow. Imagine that river or the stream or whatever. If you got monsoon happening, you got a lot of water, and that flow is going to dislodge everything, isn't it? So your karma, the obstacles, the desires, the attachments, the things, the old attitudes, the old thoughts that you have that you can't feel like you can never get rid of. You start getting a strong flow in that inner kingdom, and you're going to knock those things out. They're going to get pushed along. And you bring it all up to the point where you just burn it out. At the point between the eyebrows, you're talking about freedom. You know, you can have this image of a plant, or weeds, let's say weeds. And some practices, you could say, they may be good enough to chop the weeds down. Time it's gone, but they grow back, isn't it? So you get rid of one attitude and then it comes back 3 months later. One day, then it comes back. Kriya gets down there and it pulls it out from the roots. How? From practice that we do, from devotion, from them is 75%. Master said, I'll give you lots of my good karma so that you can get there. So the Guru's grace, Kripa, is there with you. He said Master said 25% is your effort. 25%, he said, I'll give you lots of my good karma. It's 25%. He said 50% is the grace of God. So in yoga, what are we doing? We're turning our cup up, you could say. So I wanted water, so this guy brought me a cup. If the cup would have been down, I wouldn't have gotten any water. So in yoga, we turn our cup up. We sit up straight. We look at the right places. We stimulate the chakras. We chant. We do seva. We do the different practices that I talked about of Mahamudra and yoga postures and Kriya Pranayam and Jyoti Mudra. I mean, these are all parts of Kriya. Why? We're turning our cup up. I'm ready. You know, I'm awake and ready. That's what Master really meant. Not the energy's down. You know, I have this heavy diet every day. I can barely get out of bed. You know? But I want to find God. You know, and you have to, it's like pushing from both sides of a door. You have to want it. You have to make these changes in yourself. Okay, so I'm not going to stay watching TV for 3-4 hours a day. I'm not going to, you know, eat all the gulab jamun or whatever. You know? I'm going to have 1 instead of 5 or whatever it is. And I'm not going to have those wrong attitudes. And I'm going to get to the center and I'm going to serve it over here. And I'm going to read the books. I'm going to listen to Swami. I'm going to listen to the talks. This is what the 25% means. I'm going to do my part. And then you find, wow, you're being pushed along. And Master showed, he showed that you can go inside of this wonderful kingdom of God. What do you feel there? Peace, joy, love, bliss. I remember Swamiji Kriyanandaji said near the end of his life, he said, I'm mainly in bliss now. And you could just see it all over his face. And there's a story of Ramakrishna Paramahansa who, at the end of his life, he had cancer. And then one of the close disciples went to him, told him, he told us this story, and said, well, Master, you know, how are you now? He would be on bed. And he said, you don't know how much pain I'm going through. It's terrible. And so the disciple, you know, comforted him, and he went back to the others. And then he went back some time later to the Master, how do you know? He kept saying this. And the third time, the disciple, he went a little ways back, and he said, like he's feeling that, he's saying that. And then the Master said, oh, that fellow's found me out now. Because no matter what happens to you, if you really are inside there, and was he? Of course he was. Then it doesn't affect you nearly as much. You know, there's your karma to Sharda Ma said, Ramakrishna's wife says, your karma to lose a leg. If you're deeply practicing yoga, meditation, and a spiritual path, you may get a scratch. That's a big difference in losing a leg. You know, so, and I've seen in my own life, karma's there, but it doesn't hit you. It might just touch you a little bit. You know it's there, but it doesn't knock you out. And the Master showed how how he gave the power to the disciples to change. And Swamiji said he would be sitting in the back of the room. Master would be talking about all kinds of mundane things, not even saying, I'm blessing you now. And he said he would just feel the energy rising up his spine and out through the forehead, through the point between the eyebrows. I mean, this is real. This isn't something you just read about. When Dr. Lewis, Master's closest disciple, one of his closest, first disciples, came to him, Rajasi was the foremost, and he said, when he first came, he said, I've read in the Bible where it says, and I be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. And this was in the 20s. And there was Master, fresh out of India, you know, and probably hardly any Indians around. And brown skin, long hair, you know, probably orange robes. But how did he get there? Master drew him there. Let's face it. So he's there, and he said, do you know what this means? Then I be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light. Master said, I think so. And he said, I've gone to many a minister at we call him Minister Acharya, a preacher, and I've never gotten a good answer. And he said, have you seen this light? And Master said, I think so. So of course I've seen it, but it was so sweet what he said. And then he said, can you show it to me? I think so. Then he sat Dr. Lewis down in front of him. He didn't pull out the Bible and the Gita and all the books I talked to him. He had them like you guys are sitting, and the Master sat right in front of him, facing him. And he brought his forehead, Dr. Lewis's forehead. Dr. Lewis saw the great light, the spiritual light. Then he saw the light of the 1,000-petaled lotus. From the Guru's, Master asked him a question before, I have to tell you, before he did that. He looked at he knew who he was. He had drawn him there. He knew that was his disciple from other lives. And he said to him these words, question, will you love me always as I shall love you? God, in the first meeting, most people would have run away. I didn't know what to do. And Dr. Lewis said, I didn't know what to say. But then he said, I said yes because, you see, I could feel the love. Guru's love. I could feel the love. So I said yes, and Master. It was great. And he said, now I can take charge of your life. How wonderful. How wonderful. And then Dr. Lewis, it was Christmas Eve. He was going home. He was supposed to be decorating the Christmas tree with his wife. it was like after midnight, and his wife was up. She had a frying pan, and she was ready to conk him over the head. Because he was late, really late. And then he came in, and she just saw his face, but he was glowing. And she said, okay, come tell me what happened. Then she became a disciple as well. But how beautiful. And then there was, his name was Bob Raymer. Bob Raymer, he was very wealthy. He flew in on his private jet to Los Angeles to meet Master. He comes, and he comes to Master's door, and wants a Master. And he says, well, how can I help you? Bob Raymer. I mean, he just fresh out of the plane. He didn't know anything, but he was a past life disciple. So he says to Master, I read your book and I want to learn this Kriya Yoga. The Master said, okay, come on in. And Master had this album of his relatives and some sweets on the table. So he was showing Dr. Liz, this is my sister, my other sister. Dr. Liz kept thinking, I don't know what, I want the Kriya Yoga. So, the Master had some sweets, he kept putting in Dr. Liz's mouth directly, Then he showed more pictures, and the man said, I really want to learn the Kriya Yoga. The Master said, just wait. What was he doing? He was preparing him. He was opening him up. So then he kept him there for a while, feeding him and showing the pictures. And then the man kept saying, please, just let me learn. Master said, okay, tomorrow, 10 o'clock. No, we don't give Kriya like that. Okay. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock. So then Bob Raymer comes. He's so happy. And he must have felt something there, with Master. So the Master initiates him. Bob Raymer used to drink 2 martinis, he said, every night. He said, my guru told me, don't drink, practice Kriya Yoga. They went to his hotel that night and he started practicing. He said, I heard this myself at Ananda Village from him and spoke there. And he said, I did just a few of the Kriyas, and then suddenly I felt this energy just rose up all the way up my spine. And he said, I was just so happy. I started crying. Then I started laughing. And then I fell off the bed crying and laughing. And I said, I've been waiting for this time. Must have been very great disciple. The Master opened him up like that immediately. And you've got to have faith. These gurus know what they're doing. Why would they lie? They know what they're talking about. They brought the keys to the kingdom of God within. But who wants to practice? That's the question. Who wants to put out the effort? You put out the effort. I took Kriya in 1978. I've been practicing every day. Energization, Maha Mudra, Om Technique, Om Sat Technique, doing Seva. You get to be, you've seen on a fruit tree. At first, you just see the flower, the fruit's not even there yet. Huh? Then the fruit starts coming, it's little, and it gets bigger, and it's bigger. You can't get it off the tree yet, It still needs time. And at a certain point, you don't really have to pull. It's basically right. You have to get right. And they can't do that for you. You do it yourself. The more you go inside, the more you feel. Where have I been? This is my true home. Finally, I'll say, this is why we have these centers. People come meditate, experience, not just talk, but come and experience for yourself. And once you have just even a little taste, You never. Other things may come and go, you know, whatever, but you just know from everything that we do, you just feel. And that's I must meditate. And even in my community where I grew up, it was like nobody was meditating. But Master do. I don't care who's not meditating. You're going to meditate. You know, so he brings you in places like this so you learn how to meditate. So you can remember when what you do. What great blessing. It's a rare birth. It's not misdemeanor. Guru came, he brought us Swamiji, all the techniques, all the music, all the books, all the centers, pilgrimage places, all everything. People who are willing to help, you know, help us save a possibility. Some places you go, you can't do any seva. But you come here as a formula. Master said, if you did 1/100 of what I've said to you to do, you can be free. Now, why is that? We used to quote from the Gita, where Krishna says, out of 1,000, one. And I read that, I was like, God, that's terrible. Out of 1,000, one seeks me, and out of the 1,000 who seek me, perhaps, he didn't say for sure, he said perhaps one knows me. And then the Master said on the talk, our percentages are better than that. You gotta love it. Our percentages are better. And why? You look at all these masters, they're all helping you. Then the powerful techniques that we're practicing every day, and the satsang we have, and the safe, and Swamiji's written 150 books and 400 pieces of music. There's acharyas traveling all the time, going from center to center, helping. How could there be a better lifetime? Isn't it? Gurus come now. Go for it in this life. So you're in a good place here. It's a wonderful center. These masters are guiding. And I think you're good karma. Very, very, very. Don't forget it. Master said to that disciple, it takes very, very, very good karma if you even want to. You have that good karma. We all do. Let's make the best of it. Let's meditate for this few minutes. Asking the Master blessing. I'll ask you all if you have any questions now. And at the end, we'll do an arati and a blessing. Please go ahead if you have a question. Please go ahead. Do you have a question?
No, I'll phrase it in my mind and I'll ask someone.
I have a question. So, like in this material life, constantly like we are juggling between work. For work, I travel. For family, so that also my family or my wife's side of family. So it's all juggle what we are doing. So how do we ensure that? How do one ensure that at the end uh, we don't lose our final balance amidst these activities? Because when you come to the center, you feel peace. When you're with when you are in that battlefield of work, when you are in the battlefield of that daily life, then how do you ensure and how do you know that okay, it's coming from the center and not just from the
Let's say it gets better and better. At the beginning, it seems like you're just in a battlefield where nothing's changing, and you're meditating, and you feel like, why am I even bothering? But it does get better, and you do feel more and more centered in yourself, less emotional, less reactive from the practices. And so even if you can't do a lot, because I travel a lot too, but I don't let go of the sadhana. So do what you can. Traveling, do less. But then catch up later. And the balance between this and family, I mean, I would, if I were you, I'd have a picture of the Mahashaya, right, and prominent in your house, because he was a good example of that. But you have to do your duties. But like your children, you have children? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But your family has things they like to do, don't they? Maybe I don't know, shop or whatever. This is something you like to do. You like to meditate. You take away from them. I know a family, a husband and wife. The husband liked golfing. The wife liked to meditate. Great, So he wasn't going to say, "Where are you meditating? Where are you golfing?" So I can let them know it's important to you. And the other thing is go step by step. It's not like we're leaving our life and going up in a life. Be there, and you have to have a job. So you have a job and you keep that. And Rajasi Janakananda was Master's foremost disciple. At that time, a multimillionaire. That was huge at that time. And he kept his job. He didn't leave his job. And there was Mr. Black. He was very wealthy. He kept his job. They supported Master's work through it. But Rajasi would go into his office early in the morning, really early, and he would meditate for many hours. And then the workers said, "Stop it. I couldn't do that. If I didn't do that, I couldn't do that." So you've got to have some time when you collect yourself. Get some sense of peace. Or if your life just gets completely chaotic and hectic and you're not happy. Because the bottom line is you're just not happy. So take the long rhythm, let me just put it that way. You got a long path ahead of you. It's not like 1 year and I'm done. It takes time. And it's like if you plant a seed, if you plant a seed, you water it every day. Typically. But it'll first be a little shoot, then it gets bigger and bigger. But you don't go every day. Whoa, what happened to you? So let things naturally happen. Do your best, but don't get guilty. Oh God, I knew I can't do it. You're in good company. This is a wonderful place. Come meditate when you can. But at the start of the path, I had many ups and downs. I want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to energize. I want After a while, that passes. Just give yourself a break. Do what you can. And the main thing is don't let go of it. Who's really doing the work? Who's really going to change it? It's God's grace is going to change. You're just saying, okay, I'm ready. But don't feel bad. You have the good karma of being in a place like this. And merited the teachings of being yoga. That's not. Let it all smooth out. It's, I found that everything worked out. It wasn't always easy. People said to me, "When you're happy, you just can't live." People have no idea until they step in their shoes. And so everybody has their karma. And if we didn't have any karma, we wouldn't be here unless you're an avatar. I don't have any in the room other for them. But this karma to work out, hallelujah. At least you can work it out. And a powerful, Master said Kriya is the easiest, most effective, ancient technique of self-realization. He said it's the airplane route. So at least you've got that in your hands now. And people say there's so much karma coming. Look at the powerful tools you have to work out your karma. If you went somewhere and they said the technique is stare at the wall, you can do that for any length of time. You have so many practices. I hope that's helpful. You ready now?
Yeah. So last week I learned energization techniques and Hamsa technique.
Okay.
So I thought that I'll do it every day. Every day I'll wake up. The first day at least I'll do all the three things.
Yeah.
Energization, Hamsa, and then try to meditate.
Yeah.
But by and by, I just narrowed it down to just Hamsa. I mean, it was not intentional. Like in the morning when you wake up, you're feeling lethargic. So yesterday when I thought that you were coming, but I was not aware. When I heard that you were coming, so I searched for your YouTube video, and I saw something. I don't remember the exact topic, but it was related to spiritual lethargy. And what you said,
spiritual laziness.
Laziness. So what you're just saying is in a little bit contrast to what you said there, right? You were like, why are you feeling like? It was like you were talking to me. Why are you feeling like instead of get doing something right? So in the night itself, I felt like I should try again. Right? But how can I maintain that sense of inspiration all through, right? Something will happen in the office or at home, the mental peace gets disturbed. One may, shout, one may eat,
It's
drink.
the way it is, isn't it? Some days you do better than other days. But at least you're heading up. Even if you have some dips, at least you're heading in the right direction. And so I would say stay in satsang come as much as you possibly can. What is other types of satsang? These books. That's satsang. Just open the page in the morning and read a paragraph of autobiography or whichever books. What else is satsang? Putting on some of the Ananda music. We have an music app. Listen to that. What else is satsang? Play one of Master's talks or Swamiji's talks. Even 5 minutes will wake you up. Because, whoa, I was sleeping. What's another thing? You get a harmonium or an instrument or a guitar and play the chants, learn the chants. There'll be they'll be teaching people here how to play the instruments. What else is satsang? Coming to the class. What else is satsang? Going online. What else is satsang? Get on the YouTube, You just gotta keep things moving. But really, how can I put this? It's a long journey. It's been a lifetime for us. Just another lifetime. And we're seeking, we're striving. But it's not going to be like a sprint, it's a long distance run. And sometimes you're sitting on the sidelines, you just go, I'm tired. I've gone through that. Sometimes you're walking, you decide, I can't run right now. Sometimes you're sprinting. Sometimes a friend comes by and says, here, let's walk together. I'm tired too. I mean, all of these things will happen. So yes, you need inspiration, and I would carry pictures with you at work, put in your drawer or in your wallet or somewhere. You have to have little reminders in the car on the way to work or on the way back. It's been a rough day, not even a rough day, any day. Put on the music, Ananda music. Go, okay, oh yeah, I remember this, or a talk, or you've got a big toolbox here, and you got a lot in there, but you can't put it in the. You got to pull out. Okay, today I need an affirmation. The affirmation. Today I need a talk. Today I got to get over the center and meditate. Just keep pulling those things out, and you'll get stronger and stronger. I mean, last week you started. Give it some time.
Yeah.
I think if you're on the right road, and how about it? Step by step. So if you can't do all the 39 exercises every day right now, do 5. Next week, add 1. And add another. Be realistic. Practical. No? You're building a base. When someone builds a house, they don't just start at the top. You've got to have a base. Then you start putting in everything. So you're starting to build your base. It's a good base. And you'll do well. Just gotta be between, guilt is only gonna take you down. Do the best you can, and then, ask them to help you. You might even not feel it right away. Sometimes you just feel like you just need a break. So be realistic, be practical, as well as energetic and enthusiastic. But who's like that all the time? That's intense. And Master brought you home. That's the biggest step. Once you get home, like if you were lost out in the street, and you finally get to your home, you feel like, I am home. And there's going to be good food there, your family's going to welcome you, you're home. So you're home now. And, let everything happen. It doesn't all happen at once. Makes sense?
This may sound childish and married.
No.
In this lifetime, will I ever be learning how to meditate? It's so difficult.
Think about that. I used to feel the same. I mean, a restless mind is there, but at least it's like a galloping horse. You can't just pull the reins. Stop! You can't do that. You have to start going a little slower, then slower, slower. Then you pull that horse to stop. But it's good to have a strong mind. In other words, why am I supposed to do meditate? That's just not it. Good to have power in your brain. But we've got powerful techniques to focus. Learn focus and concentration through Hansa. And then you'll be in Kriya Bond soon, after some months. And whoa, look out. So I would say the important thing is stick with it. Even if sometimes I remember I was hanging by a thread, but I was still hanging on. Then it got thicker, then there was a rope again. But sometimes like, God, I'm barely making it. Okay. So I think the answer is up to you, but I would think about, anytime you get discouraged, I would open the autobiography, any page, and read a paragraph. Master said he put his vibrations in it, not just words. He's giving a blessing. And look at the pictures. Get an altar at your house, even a small one. Get an altar and talk to them. I'm having a difficult time. I can't get up in the morning, or I can't meditate, or my mind is racing on. Remember the 75%. 25 is yours. Do the best you can. Another thing is, as you do more of this, you can get up earlier, actually. and you have more energy in the morning. Don't eat too late at night if you can help it, because then if your food is just all night, your stomach's working, your heart's working, you're exhausted in the morning. So the earlier and less you can eat at night, the better. But you have to figure that one out. Yeah. I think you'll do well. Just stick with it. Anybody else?
They ask. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a little more time. Maybe one more. Sure. They asked theirs the other day. Are there any? You can ask another one, however. You have a question?
We have only here, here so ultimately we should not be little bit stimulate. How do we ascertain that we are on the right path or should not?
You definitely will feel when you're in this strongly. At first, when you're doing pranayama or kriya, you're doing it and you're done. But then the energy sinks into shubna, and you feel, like I said about Bob Raymer, I mean, you start feeling the energy is rising up in your spine. There are things that happen. You may feel side to side movement or circular movement. These are signs that energy is moving from the base of the spine is trying to get up in Shukra. Other times you feel maybe your head goes back or your body moves. These are good signs that energy is moving up. So you can't force that though. You have to keep practicing, and your breath gets very shallow. You're hardly breathing at all. And then you're not breathing. These are all good signs. You may feel a lot of energy here, and then tingling at the top of the head. These are basics that you feel as energy is moving more inward. Are you Kriya Mom?
Today, we are usually
Acha, really? When is
we start for that from June 16th.
Oh, coming up. Are you living in Chandigarh?
Oh, I'm from Hyderabad.
But you're just going to go over? That's great. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Yeah, I'm not there on that, but it must be Devarshi, Shankara, different ones. Good for you. Aarti? Okay, so.
This one, how we can contact you directly. This is a blessing that you are getting. Suppose sometime I feel like I want to talk to you.
Yeah, so you can write to Sandhya and she'll get in touch with me. Yeah. You can write her and she'll get in touch with me. Otherwise, I'd have 1,000 emails and WhatsApp messages every day. But I will be in touch with you if you have. I went to people when I was new. I just had a long list of questions. I would get any long-time person around, sit with them, and not even that I understood the answers, but I would ask a lot of questions. So good. The Swamiji asked Master a lot of questions. That's what's in the book, The New Path. All those you see in the back, there's a lot of things that Master Swamiji asked Master, then you can write about it. Artie? Sriram.
Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri 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 Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Just come up when you feel to. You see the touch of light. Let's send blessings and light out to the whole world from God and our great line of master. As we chant Om together. Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
may thy love
may thy love
shine forever,
shine forever
on the sanctuary of my devotion.
on the sanctuary of my
May
devotion.
I be able
May I be able
to awaken thy love
to awaken thy love
in all hearts.
in all hearts.
Om Shanti Shanti. Blessings. Yes, Masada.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
You can sit here.
Yes.
I'll just sit here.
Yeah, but
One person can take it and the other person can. Yeah, selfie's fine too.
it's a email channel.